You can't have none of that. What it do, y'all? Bread Tuck Rob, Bread Tuck Legacy Podcast. This is Bread Tuck Rob, and this is the Bread Tuck Legacy Podcast, man. I'm your host, Bread Tuck Rob, the Bread Tuck, whatever you want to call me, man. Before we get into the content, man, grab my book, Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. Man, my book is available now, man. This thing is on Amazon. Let me show the other camera. My book is available now. This thing is on Amazon. This book is on Amazon, man. And I support my daughter with this book, man. Grab that book. That book is $9.95 for the e-copy, $14.95 for the physical copy, man. It's all about independence, all about ownership, man, which we'll talk about in a little bit, man. On the Father's Day podcast, man, I had a very special guest. I had to bring her back again if she could handle her business. It's my daughter Nyla. You'll probably hear her throughout the podcast because she like to make these crazy noises, but I let her rock. But when she gets disrespectful, I gotta let her know who's in charge, because that's not how we moving out here, right? Other cultures, they kind of have you ever been out and other folk kids just running around doing all this crazy stuff? They ain't even saying nothing to their kids. I don't do that, man. Even though mine only 9 months, I get on her early. Baby, we not doing that. That's not what daddy want. We not moving like that, baby. I ain't gonna lie. And my baby knows. Say what's up, Nyla. Say hi. Hi. All right, she don't want to talk, but she cute though. But yeah, man, I get on my baby, man, and I got my sip. I don't sip in front of my baby, so what I did was I poured it in a different cup because I don't want my baby to see me drinking like that. But let me sip. See, look at her. She's looking at me. For those of y'all that's watching this on YouTube or watching this on my Instagram Live, and she reaching for it. See, that's why it's important that you maneuver properly in front of your children. You got to maneuver properly in front of your children because they watching you. Let me sip though. And I got the banger because I got my baby with me. I don't play by my baby, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't play by my baby, man. As a matter of fact, I got 2 hammers. Let me show you. I got the hammer. And I got the hammer. You choose. If you come up in here tripping, you choose. But check this out, man. Check this out, guys. From the 9th to the 12th, me and the baby mama, man, we went to Atlanta, man. We had this beautiful trip to Atlanta because, I was listening to or watching Trigger Warning on Netflix, Killer Mike's show, and I just remember him, on the first episode, he was trying to only support black business in Atlanta for, I think it was a day or 3 days or a week or something, but like that. And he was just trying to support only black business in Atlanta. And I just remember watching that episode, then watching the rest of the episodes, and I'm like, man, Atlanta is so beautiful. You see all these black businesses, you see all these black people. I am going to Atlanta. I want to say this was back in like January or something. I don't even remember when Trigger Warning came out. But after seeing that, I knew me and baby mama, we try to take a trip every summer. And I was like, man, we going to Atlanta. Because I want to go to Lagos, Nigeria. But right now, man, I'm not there yet. So I'm like, man, we got to take this trip to Atlanta. So I called my aunt, like, hey, watch this child for the next 4 days. We out. Went to Atlanta, man. Beautiful experience, man. And check this out. I had an idea of places that I wanted to visit when I got to Atlanta, man. I knew I wanted to see some black restaurants. They had they have historical black colleges. They have about 4 of them. Whereas in the Houston, Texas area, we have Texas Southern University, which is in the city. Then you have Prairie View University, which is on the outskirts of the city. But I tell you what, man, Atlanta has like 4 historically black universities all in the heart of the city, man. I went to Spelman. I went to Howard. I went to Clark Atlanta. I went to Morris Brown, man. Just, you know, and I went and I made sure I took a picture by each of the signs, man. It just felt, it was just a different energy, man. Being there amongst my people and just feeling the energy of the people, man. It's a different type of energy when you're around your people. It's a different type of energy when you're around things that were built by your people. That's important, man. So it just felt good to just go take a picture by these historically black colleges, the signs and everything, man. My brother went up in Lenox Mall. You know, I guess that's their version of the Galleria in Houston. Pretty decent mall, and on the second floor, which is similar to the Galleria, that's where all your, I don't know, your Saks Fifth Avenue. They had Bloomingdale's. I've never been in a Bloomingdale's, but I was in a Bloomingdale's. You know, they had all the other stores, you know, usually like any other mall, but I ain't here to talk about malls, man. But what else? Oh, man, I went and ate at Soul Crab Houston. Now, baby mama be looking at these YouTube videos of, you know, these people who go to different restaurants or whatever. And she was watching the guy that owns the Soul Crab restaurant. So I was like, hey, we here to visit some black-owned restaurants. Let's go see about it. So we went to College Park, man. We was in College Park. When I got to College Park, I said, yeah, this feels like, this feels black, man. We was in College Park, man, and we rolled up. Oh, and we passed, before we talk about the restaurants, there are 3 black-owned banks in Atlanta. There's 3 black-owned banks. I visited Trust Bank. I forget the name of the other 2, but check this out, man. I was feeling the energy of Atlanta so beautifully that I called Trust Bank, and I was gonna start an account for her in Atlanta, and just because it's a black bank, and just, you know, when I get back to Houston, just maneuver online with it. I'm already a member of United Bank in Houston, which is the black bank in Houston, and it has 2 locations. But I was just feeling the energy of Atlanta and just black, man, which I feel the black energy every day, but just being amongst it, I was like, oh, I might gotta open an account. Long story short, I didn't open an account because they didn't have the type of accounts that would make sense for me to raise for my baby. I'm not trying to raise your average I don't know, checking and savings. I was trying to open something that is going to draw some interest. And the only thing that they really had that would have kind of made sense, but not really, was a CD, man. You put in about $500, and then every 6 months, you start out gaining like 0.05 interest. Then every 6 months, it would go up to like 0.6. Then after that, 0.7. And I was like, I don't have that kind of time. So we got to keep it moving. But I did roll by Citizens Trust Bank, and I took a picture there. She put her own pacifier in her mouth. Y'all see that? She put her own, my baby growing up, she put her own pacifier in her mouth. But I rolled by Citizens Trust Bank, which is also in College Park. Cali Park. I just remember he was like a producer for like the Yin Yang Twins out of Atlanta, Cali Park. Man, Atlanta's artists really be branding themselves to let you know that they from Atlanta. But anyway, visited Soul Crab, man. Soul Crab Atlanta. And as soon as you go in there, the music is playing. You see black people. You see black waitresses. It was a seafood restaurant. Man, I sat down, I looked at that menu. Check this out. I looked at the menu before I got there, so I already knew what I wanted, man. I'm a seafood brother. Man, I ordered some blackened salmon that had some crab meat. It was like a crab meat sauce on top of that thing, man. I knocked that out, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I cleaned that up ASAP, man. It was $28, but it was well worth it. And then you pick your sides, man. I got French fries because I wanted to taste some real Cajun French fries. And then I had some collard greens, man, and them things was seasoned. Do you hear me? I say them things was seasoned. Check this out, man. it is a difference when you eating some food cooked by us than food cooked by others. It is a clear difference. Let me sip, man. I gotta take a sip, man. I got see my baby watching what I sip. That's why I say you gotta watch what you do. Let me sip. That's what the sip make you do. The sip on top of what I ate, because I'm reminiscing about what I ate, man. And I said, man, I already make it a habit of trying to find black businesses, but I have to, man, we got to hit more black restaurants, man. Because in collard greens, man, then the next, now this is at, what is it, Soul Crab Atlanta. Now check this out. The next day, a brother went, is this girl asleep? Then make sure my baby's still, all right, baby, hey, baby, you my one and only. I gotta make sure you good out here. The next day, we went to, what's the place called? I went to Soul Crab Atlanta. Busy Bees. A brother went to Busy Bees. Check this out, man. A brother went to Busy Bees and had some, man, I had some fried shrimp. Again, with some collard greens and some french fries. Ooh, I tell you, man, that shrimp, man. Excuse me. That shrimp, man, it was beautiful, man. And it's just something about, I'm gonna switch my baby around, but I'm gonna keep talking. It's something about the way that, man, black people we season our food, man. It's a beautiful thing. And I tell you what, both times going to those restaurants, white people was in the building. Because they know the difference between their food and our food. They know the difference. So they was in the building. You know, and I wanted to ask one, be like, hey man, why y'all in here? And I guarantee you they would have been like, man, because our food bland. Our food bland. Y'all know what y'all doing in the kitchen. But check this out, man. That wasn't Soul Crab. That was what I say, Busy Bees. You know, and of course they had on the wall, they had pictures of all the celebrities who have been there before and everything like that. And in front of Busy Bees, man, it was a black woman. She might have been black, African, Kenyan or whatnot. She was in front of the restaurant. She was selling some paintings that her husband had made. Now what she did was, I guess it was one original painting, and then they went and made prints of them, because she had smaller sizes, she had bigger sizes and all that. And I saw her before I got out the car, and I said, man, let me check her out. Because I believe that when your people are out here being entrepreneurs, if you can afford it, if you have that extra money, you got to get out there and support them. Check this out, man. She was out there, you know, moving these things. You know, a lot of people just walking by, I say, sister, what you got? I only have $5 cash. She's like, yeah, you know, I have this painting, you know, the big one's like 35, then the other one's 20, and then, you know, I got these magnets, 2 for 10. I said, I tell you what, sister, I only have $5 cash. Here you go, just take this, I just want to support you. And she gave me the little magnet size one that I could put on my refrigerator. I should have brought it so I could show y'all. It's a very beautiful thing. It's a black man holding his black child. And the child could be a girl or a boy. So it was a beautiful thing, man. I just believe in supporting my people, man. And again, we was in Atlanta, baby. Black restaurants, black colleges, black people on the streets selling stuff. I wanted to visit the black farmers market, but I was on a plane. You know, I can't really, it would have been kind of crazy trying to maneuver that stuff back to Houston on a plane. Let me sip. My baby sleepy, so she ain't gonna say much. My baby sleepy. But check this out too, y'all. This was the highlight of my trip. As soon as I got to Atlanta, I said I gotta visit Tyler Perry Studios. So I Googled it. I was in Lenox Mall. I Googled it and I called Tyler Perry Studios and said, hey, do y'all do tours? The woman answered the phone. She's like, nah, I won't do tours. I say, well, can a brother get by there and take a picture? She said, yeah, you know, we have a welcome center that you can park. And when you get out there, you know, you won't be able to get through the gate, but you go by the waterfall, take a picture, and that be what it is. I said, cool. Drove up to Tyler Perry Studios, man. Parked in the welcome center. What did I see next to the welcome center? Tyler Perry has a security team. They drive around in Chargers. And on the security cars, these Chargers, it says Tyler Perry Campus Security. That was important to me. That was inspirational. The reason why that was inspirational is because of the word campus. When I think about campus, I think about schools. I think about large infrastructures. I think about how ESPN has a campus. I think about how in Connecticut, I believe. I think about how Nike has a campus in Oregon. And for this black man to have a campus in Atlanta, and I reflect back to his speech that he gave at the BET Awards, man, when he was like, you know, this used to be a slave plantation, you know, with so many Negroes on it, but now it's owned by one Negro. I said, man, this is beautiful. And as I stood out the gate, man, and I just wanted to take a picture with Tyler Perry Studios above me, because see, it's one thing to go to Disneyland or Universal Studios or whatever, but when you're able to go visit a studio that a black man built, that a black man who's not waiting for other people to pick up his movie or sign him on to act, he say, no, I'm gonna build my own thing. And I tell you what, not only am I gonna make my own movies, fund my own movies, I'm gonna build the studio. I'm gonna build the studio that it's gonna be shot on. And not only that, other people are going to want to use my studio, i.e. Marvel, because Black Panther was filmed. Some of the parts in Black Panther was filmed at Tyler Perry's studios, man. That's why that was important. That's why that was inspirational for me to visually see that a brother just like me built his own thing. And I keep reflecting ownership, 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 ownership. That's important. That's why it was important for me to look at that ownership. You visualize things, then you see it. When you see these examples that are in front of you, these credible examples, if it, you know, anybody else could tell you, hey man, build your own, build your own, build your own. But when you have somebody who actually looks like you, who's built their own, and they tell you, your ears open a little wider than what they would have, you know. And you know what? And then I thought about it, man. I come back to Houston, and this is just an idea I had, man. I said, man, why doesn't, you know, like, and this is not to just say, I'm just thinking about Beyonce. She's incredible. What I'm thinking about, I'm like, man, Beyonce makes movies. I'm sure she has the capital. Why doesn't she build her own thing like this in Houston? You know, so I just reflect back on Tyler Perry crying into a phone saying like, and you know, he was going through a lot. I like Tyrese, but he was like, you know, he was upset with The Rock because, you know, The Rock doing Hobbs and Shaw or whatever, the spinoff to Fast and Furious. You know, Tyler Perry was like, that's gonna put a lot of us actors, you know, I got bills, man, I got things to pay. And then I'm thinking about that while I'm at Tyler Perry Studios, and I'm like, Tyrese, why don't you do your own? Maybe you don't have the money to build your own studio, but you have the money to fund your own movie. You do. I'm not counting nobody's pockets, but bruh, it's no excuses. It's no excuses. I'm looking at Tyler Perry Studio. It's no excuses. I'm looking at the car that says Tyler Perry Tyler Perry Studio Campus Security. There's no excuses on why you shouldn't build your own. So that was the highlight, man. It was such a highlight I went on my first day in Atlanta, and I went my last day in Atlanta to just look at it again because it was just powerful, man. Which brings me to my last point before I get up out of here, man. On yesterday, I rented a movie called I Got the Hookup 2. And if you're familiar with Master P, you just got to make sure my baby good. You got to make sure my baby good out here. All right, we good? We good? If you're familiar with Master P, you know that Master P speaks of ownership. Master P was filming his own movies before people started really filming their own movies. I think he had Bout It. He had he did I Got the Hookup 1. And Eddie Griffin told this amazing story about the movie Foolish. I think when Eddie Murphy was doing stand-up comedy and he was doing his Malcolm and Eddie thing, and you know, boys knew who Eddie Griffin, I say Eddie Murphy, boys knew who Eddie Griffin was. Let me sip. During one of Eddie Griffin's nights or whatever, he was out headlining, he let Master P them open for him. Eddie Griffin didn't think nothing of it. Oh, that's Master P, Mystical, okay, what's up? This was when they were on the come up. Master P said he never forgot that. One day, him and Eddie Griffin ran into each other again, like somewhere. By this time, Master P was the man. Master P said, Eddie Griffin, you don't remember me, huh? Eddie Griffin's like, yeah, I remember you opened up for me. You know, you did the song. He said, yeah, now I'm all right. He said, you got a script, a movie script or something? Eddie Griffin, Master P said, I want to buy it from you for $1 million. Eddie Griffin said, I don't have, I said, give me some time. He went back, came back with the movie Foolish, and Eddie Griffin and Master P filmed that movie independently. And they said that in the box office, it did well. It did extremely well for an independent movie. So I say all that to say, we're talking about a guy who's been talking about independence since the early 90s. Check this out. I watched I Got the Hookup 2. And before I watched this movie, man, I watched my guy Master P on like the Breakfast Club, and he was like, look, I know we all love the movie Black Panther and all that, but we don't own that. That Disney owns that. He was like, support my movie, man. I am putting my movie out. I funded this movie. Him and his son, Lil Romeo, funded this movie. That's power within itself. They didn't have to go to Disney. They didn't have to go to Lionsgate. They put their own bread together. They funded this movie. And not only did they fund this movie, all these Instagram comedians and Instagram stars who probably wouldn't get shots in like other movies, and I'm not saying that as a slight, I'm just making a point. He gave them roles in these movies, in this movie, man. So when the movie dropped, you know, at first I was thinking, man, I'm gonna have to go to the theater and do it, but it's all right. I'm gonna have to get 2 tickets, give me some popcorn, whatever. But Master P was like, man, they trying to hug me because they don't want me to be #1, so they're limiting me in the theaters. But you could order this movie on iTunes, you can rent it or buy it, or you can get it on Amazon, rent it or buy it, or you can get it on demand, rent it or buy it. And I watched it on demand for $8. I rented it. Have I bought it, it would have been $12, but I rented it. And at first I thought, man, this is a lot of money to rent it. But then I thought about it, oh wait, he's a black man, whoa. So he's not getting the same opportunities that others would get, so he has to do it this way. Not only that, I was prepared to go to the movies and buy 2 tickets and buy popcorn and have to gas up my car, dress up. But I could sit and watch this in the comfort of my own home. He getting this $8. Now, watching the movie, I thought it was a good movie, man. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody because it just came out. It was a good movie. I think that, you know, it had a few janky looking parts in it, but it's whatever. He's working with what he had, and he occupied my time for 2 hours just like any Marvel movie or Disney movie or Quentin Tarantino movie would occupy my time for 2 hours. And it was a relatable movie. But I just want to shout out Master P, man, and I hope that we all, you know, because he preaches independence. He preaches financial freedom like everybody else, man. He preaches passing things down to his son. Like me, I get on here talking about I'm selling my book, man, because I'm trying to make a life for my daughter to where she doesn't have to clock in for anybody. I don't want my baby being at the mercy of anybody else. He preaches that. It was a scene in the movie because they brought back, it was Black and Blue. And you know, Blue is A.J. Johnson, Black is Master P. And you know, it was one scene where they were talking to each other and Blue wanted to go out and do goofy stuff like he always wanted to do, even in part one. And he's a grown man now. Master P was like, look, I ain't about that, man. It ain't about that. It's about leaving something for my kids, man. We getting old, man. We got kids, man. We got to make sure our kids good forever. And for me, that was a powerful scene because I'm reflecting on me and my daughter. So, man, I just want to tell y'all, man, shout out to Atlanta, shout out to Black ownership, shout out to Black restaurants, historically Black colleges. Major shout out to the GOAT Tyler Perry for creating a situation for himself. And shout out to Master P for creating his situation. And everybody for being inspirations to where I could sit down with my daughter, look at that and be like, yeah, I want that for us. But y'all know what it is, man. This is the Bread Tuck Legacy Podcast. This is the Bread Tuck Legacy Podcast. Grab my book, Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. If you go on Amazon, this is how it's going to look. For y'all watching on YouTube, this is how it's going to look. Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. Defeating the Struggle, Journal Entries of a Conqueror. And, man, I'll see y'all next week, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Y'all mucho, take it easy. H-Town all day. God bless.